Hello there, Commonwealth Rum here, and after Bergsala Nintendo Nordics invited me to preview the game, this is how I think we'll conquer the Sky Islands and reconquer the land of Hyrule, all without going the boundaries of the embargo. So be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell as we're now pushing 2023 likes on this video and 333,333 subscribers by May 12th for another giveaway. First Switch OLED winner? Call May. Congratulations. Nintendo and the Zelda team have made it clear that Tears of the Kingdom starts on what we now know as the Great Sky Island. May I say, a very creative name from the Great Plateau. Joking aside, this is probably based on numerous theories, and that seems to be the case with most of the Sky Islands across Hyrule's 8 provinces. But there's also a different detail that is very key, namely that the Sky Island groups are separated by huge distances between the provinces, pointing at one additional thing. The Zonai took the land they saw as the most precious up into the sky and left the rest, or ruins, on the surface. And up here in the sky is where we find the most desired locations, not counting the underground areas naturally. So how does Nintendo get us away from this territory back to the surface? By making the distances of the Sky Islands in other provinces too far away from the one we are currently on, even when using different vehicle builds, especially early on in the game, and it's also the reason why the Zonai bird glider, and even when turning it into a plane, disintegrates before getting to those islands. As these distances, both horizontally and vertically, are deliberate and all aimed at one developer goal: to force the player to complete a particular sky province, which might be even more fragmented than Hyrule's 8 provinces, or maybe not, as we have after all up to 8 batteries on our new Zonai device. Nevertheless, they want us to return back to the province that we just entered, do more main or side activities there, and then think, how do I get to the next collection of Sky Islands from the surface? I think this is how we will go from Great Sky Island, our beginning, where upon gaining the ability to leave the starting location, we skydive our way down to the surface near the Great Plateau, just like producer Eiji Aonuma did in March. But what is next? The islands that I had the pleasure to preview, or South Hyrule Sky Archipelago, right above South Central Hyrule. But from here, it is too far to the next collection of Sky Islands, so you once again need to go back down to the surface and use a vehicle or Epona to traverse to the next province. One route from here leads across the bridge of Hylia, where Flame Gleeok awaits, so perhaps it no longer is the optimal path to Faron, which the Zelda team has been guarding heavily, along with 2 other provinces of Eastern Hyrule: Akkala, which we saw barely in the shot in February, and Lanayru, which we have only seen above from the sky. Most likely due to the substance leaking down from the Sky Islands, and potentially this Gyork. Below that, the Zelda team are also probably hiding new NPCs who have moved in or reappeared during this timescale, including many changes and distractions to structures and geography. We can also add the underground sections to that equation, as seen with the Faron Cave in the title reveal trailer in September. Well, that and the numerous ways of reaching these provinces' Sky Islands. As what we're witness to here is a game that will take much longer to complete. Scratch that, beat than Breath of the Wild, which sits at around 50 hours to beat on howlongtobeat.com. But I have a feeling that Tears of the Kingdom for the average player to beat, that is to say the main story with potentially the true ending on your first playthrough, could easily turn into 100. And there is no way to ignore the sky, since key items and other challenges are located here. Though there's a different reason why thorough sky exploration is required, as we need Zonai charges from defeated Zonai soldier constructs who are primarily on the Sky Islands, all to exchange them at the Sky Zonai Gachapon machines. Dispensers that allow us to gain new Zonai items, which again are required to engineer Ultra Hand vehicles. Well, that and certain fusions. Rocket, fan, flame emitter, and most of all steering stick are all tied to this mechanic. Some parts will be found hidden on the surface, but most will be on the Sky Islands, and building with these is required to get to the Sky Islands in other ways than recalling rocks and potentially some other methods. All of this has been teased in the February and final trailers, but the first tease came with our new favorite bird with the title reveal trailer last September. It was there all along, and the final trailer did not only point out this rule of the game, but more importantly, that we cannot only stay on the Sky Islands, we need to combine to progress and grow. And it can be traced to this opening shot right here. which reveals our preview area, but also a lot about the nature of the Sky Islands. Namely, that they are, like we have already pointed out, provincial. What does that mean? That all of them are not connected through much of the game, or reachable with flying machines from a different province, since batteries run out faster when not only going horizontally, but ascending vertically. So, say that we want to get to the Sky Islands of another province, in this particular case, Faerun. Then we need to go down to the surface, face Gleok, and then make our way up from around the Zonai ruins. In other words, we'll be making our way from the surface up to the next Sky Islands constantly after finishing the opening on the Great Sky Island, not the other way around. The final trailer actually told us exactly what order we'll play throughout its glorious 3 minutes and 56 seconds. Because what do we see? Start on Great Sky Island, but then make our way towards the surface. And what do we pass on our way down there? The preview islands. We then land on the surface and stay there for a little while before our first tease of underground. Then back to the surface, underground, then to the sky. Then surface and underground again. Surface underground, surface sky with preview area and Zonai bird, more sky, then surface, sky, surface, sky, underground, surface, sky, surface, underground, surface, underground, surface, sky, surface, underground, surface, sky, underground, and surface to conclude. This insane back and forth right here is the likely key to understanding our progression in Tears of the Kingdom. But why so much surface? Since it is the connection, the middle layer between sky and underground. Here we find all the entrances underground, the fallen sky rocks to recall back up, and nearly all dedicated vehicle building stations. Either to go horizontally with a truck or tank, or get up vertically, and if done well enough, up to the local Sky Islands. But why only local? Since there's no place to land to reload our batteries between these Sky Islands above Central Hyrule and these in say Faerun. But why? As each collection of Sky Islands is tied to each specific province, meaning that each province will have its unique set of Sky Islands themed on the distant past and potentially vegetation and climate of said region, at least to a certain degree, as I don't think tropical palm trees can survive this high up. Instead, I think we'll find new architectural marvels like seen in the case of the Zora Islands above Lanayru, radically different from the ones seen above Central Hyrule, and likely Eldin and Gerudo. Let me say it straight out, we have been ignoring how connected the islands above are to the land below, as the Central Sky Archipelago is flat, just like Hyrule Field below. And thanks to Luigi, we know that the Sky Islands ended up floating sometime in the distant past, but originated on the surface. Just like Skyloft was sent up to the sky to shelter humanity from demise, so it seems that these Sky Islands were sent up from each province to keep something safe from Ganondorf, following what might have been his potential conquest of the Great Plateau on the surface in the past. Chunks of land from 8 provinces, but then split up into smaller sky provinces above the cloud barrier. No doubt, the confirmed upheaval has caused loss, or more precisely alteration, of territory on the surface that we love, but also plenty of added territory both in the sky and on the ground. And most importantly, it all ties together. The underground section below and the Sky Islands above, not being fully connected with each other, both when it comes to the layers, but also when it comes to different parts of underground and Sky Islands. Instead, they're only connected with its particular surface province. In other words, we have smaller unconnected open-world maps above and below the surface, but the surface is still the central core dictating it all, allowing for interprovincial exploration, since you cannot go to the next section of underground or Sky Islands without returning back to the surface. And yes, that means that we might also have Zora and Gerudo-themed underground areas, just like Goro, unless there are no Sky Islands above Eldin, just a massive underground area. Anyway, I present this point of view after covering all 8 provinces in the build-up to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom's releases, across more than 16 episodes of Zelda Unknown and inside Breath of the Wild 2 Tears of the Kingdom, where we went over all of them, including the sky in both instances, at least following this video. But what do you think of the structure, layout and provincial character of the new Sky Islands? Sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press that notification bell as we're pushing for 333,333 subscribers, plus it unlocks another giveaway. Last but not least, a big thanks goes to all of you who made my recent growth, plus my invitation from Bergsala and Nintendo to preview the game possible. I love you all for everything since Zelda Unknown. The same goes for our patreon.com/Cameron patrons, and in particular, raw producer Charles Shash. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.